we are gonna go through how to do makeup. I've said this before, but if you do already do makeup for cosplay, a lot of this is going to be things that you're like, I already know this, but hopefully there'll be things you don't know or things that you can try out, and that will be helpful. So kind of the thing I want to start with this panel is the fact that you can cosplay without actually wearing makeup at all. This idea that you need makeup, you need a wig, you need contacts is unnecessary. Cosplay is two things, it's costume and play. And if doing cosplay for you is literally sticking a costume on, going to the bar and getting wasted with your friends, that is completely acceptable. That is completely a legitimate way to do cosplay. So when I say we're going to do a panel on cosplay makeup, this isn't this is how to level up your cosplay. This is completely you want to do makeup because you want to do it, not because you think you need to. And that's a really key thing to point out. So I've been cosplaying since 2007. And I started cosplaying as a really shitty 13-year-old. And my sister would chase me around the house and be like, you have to put eyeliner on. And I'm going, no, I'm a male character, I have to wear eyeliner. And turns out my sister was right, you should totally wear eyeliner. Because what happens is when you get photos in your cosplay, you can actually see your eyes. It's incredible. It's like suddenly your eyes are there. So this is a picture of shitty 14-year-old me. Doing my Marth cosplay, Party City wig, we love it. And like you can't see my eyebrows, my eyes are really squinty, I don't know what's going on in this photo, my parents took it. And I wore the cosplay a couple years later and was like, I'm gonna actually do my eyebrows blue. And you can actually see my eyebrows in the photo. And I deliberately just picked two pictures that weren't well taken, well lit photos, just two pictures. So there's just things like that. If you're someone who's like, you know what, I want pictures of my cosplay. Makeup is a great way to make those pictures pop, to make your face look better in your wig. Because if you think about it, a wig is a lot bigger than your normal hair, so it's going to frame your face differently, and you might want to wear makeup in order to change how that's framing your face and things like that. So that's really what we're focusing on. We're not focusing on accuracy, looking like characters, anything like that. It's purely this is what I found useful when I started to want to get nice photos in costume, how to make my makeup work with those photos, and hopefully it'll help you guys. So the key thing that you need to start with is, where do you actually get makeup from? And this is something that completely is going to differ by people. So I have super sensitive skin. Maybe some of you also have super sensitive skin in here. Yeah, I've seen some people like, yeah, I do. And that makes buying makeup really, really difficult, because you're either buying really expensive makeup or you're taking a chance on something that might not work for your skin. I found that like the people in Boots are literally the most helpful people on the face of the planet, at least around me. And I always felt, oh my god, I'm annoying them, I'm going to go up to someone, I'm going to be like, oh, I don't know what foundation I need. But for the most part, the people who work in shops like that will actually have information to help you, so use those people. The other thing is that places like Boots and stuff like that, they're going to have proper brands who are going to be good for sensitive skin and things. So it's sort of a case of, you know, yes, Primark has stuff for £1, but maybe it's not actually what you should be getting. And it's sort of just kind of doing that research. I personally, I really like NYX makeup. Like most of the stuff I'm going to show you is going to be from them. The reason why I like them is because they're cruelty-free, and also I've never had an issue with them on my skin whatsoever. So for me, I'm like, win-win. I don't break out, I don't get rashes from this, so I'm going to stick with that. Once you find a company that you like, it's definitely good to stick with it. But you know, the idea that, oh, I'm going to get my cosmetics from this Korean beauty place online or this Japanese beauty place online, it's not necessarily that one's better than the other. There's lots of places you can get makeup. It's about trying things out and then working out what works for you. Because I know for eyebrow covering, there's nothing wrong with going to Primark and getting like a 50p lipstick to cover your eyebrows, because it's just going to go on your eyebrows. Like, what damage is it going to do? But if you're looking at foundation, you know, maybe you're thinking, okay, I'm going to go get a proper dermatologically tested foundation because I know that my skin can be a bit weird and things like that. But yeah, I think Boots is always my first point of call, because you also can try stuff. I think trying stuff is like the best thing you can possibly do to work out. So let's look at different types of foundation. So obviously the most important part of your makeup when you're cosplaying is your face, because obviously if you want pictures of your cosplay, you probably want your face in them. I don't know, some people might be like, no, I only want the back of my cosplay. But most people want their face in the picture. So when you think about putting makeup on the face, most people are going to think, okay, I'm going to stick foundation on. And that's not true. There are a lot of steps that you can do before foundation, which will definitely help you. So and this is just kind of my list, other people do different things. So I always like to start with a primer. So a primer is basically like a cream that you're going to put on before you actually even start putting any of your makeup on. What's great about a primer is that it basically protects your pores, so the makeup doesn't like go into your skin, because that's what makes your skin feel really bad after a day in cosplay when you're taking your makeup off, because it's in the pores, it feels really foggy and oily. So if you put a primer on, that's going to stop that. If you're like me and you're like really iffy about smells or textures, then it's a case of trying a bunch of different primers and seeing what actually sits on your face that doesn't work. But if you don't want to get an actual makeup primer, regular creams, like skin creams and things, as long as they're not oily ones, will absolutely work as primers, and then you have a base to put your makeup on over the top. So I definitely recommend, if you are starting out in makeup for cosplay, definitely get a primer, because your skin will thank you for it so much. It's really, really going to be good for your skin. The next thing that you do, and some people do this before foundation, after foundation, it depends, is color correction. So color correction we'll go into a bit later, but basically it's a case of, if you have very red skin, you can buy color correctors which will be a green tinge, and you can put that over the red area and it will just neutralize your face. Some people are quite sensitive about their face color, so they might want that, or people who have quite yellowy undertones might want to put a purple on to neutralize it. Obviously that's completely your comfort level, but it just so you know that those things exist, you can do that if you want. And then you're going to have your foundation. So we'll go into different types of foundation soon, but the main thing with foundation is picking one to your skin tone. The main thing about this is that you might go to a Boots or to another place that's got makeup, and you might go, this one is my shade, that's my correct foundation, and it's not true. It is not based on your shade. So my friend Mariam sitting in front here and I had a fantastic discovery at MCM that the two of us use the exact same foundation, which, as you can see from our faces, is significantly different, but it's based on your skin tone and not your shade. And that's the key thing here, is that your skin is going to have a different undertone to it. So I'm Hispanic, so I have like an olive undertone, so I've got yellowy greens going through. So a tan foundation that's got a reddish or a peach undertone, that's not gonna look like my skin at all. Even if it's the exact same shade, it's not going to actually match my skin. So often when you're picking a foundation, you need to go based on your tone, based on the actual colors underneath your skin, rather than what is actually, whether you're light or dark. And this is why a lot of people who are very pale struggle with finding foundation, because pale people go, oh, well, the 001 porcelain isn't the right color for me. And it's like, yes, it's not the right color, but you don't need to look at the lightest one because you're really pale. You need to look at, the 3, the 4, and the 5 and go, okay, I've got a peachy undertone. The number 3 isn't as light as the number 1, but it's my undertone. And that's the key thing here. Which is why I prefer buying makeup in shops, because then I can actually be like, is this right? No, it's not. Is this right? No, it's not. Okay, now my arm is just covered in foundation. And obviously the same is true on the other side of the spectrum. Pasty people struggle picking between 10 different shades of white, and then like brown people have like 8 colors for the entire spectrum of the rest of the world. So it's definitely a struggle. But if you are struggling, or you bought a foundation and you're going, this doesn't actually work for me at all, look at your tone. Work from your tone and not your shade, because that is one of the main things here. And also it'll just stop you looking really orange, because like that's the other thing, is like if you've got like a green or a yellow tone and you buy like a peachy foundation, you're going to look like someone from, what is it, like the only way is Essex or something like that. I was going to say Jersey Shore, but then I realised I needed the English equivalent to it. And no one wants that. Like no one wants to see that, and you don't want that in your photos of cosplay, right? So so this is the color correction I was talking about earlier. I'm not going to go into color correction theory, because it's not the simplest thing in the world to really do in a beginning makeup panel, but just know that it exists. And so don't color correct your foundation, color correct before your foundation, to go off what your actual tone is for the foundation. So how do you actually apply it? So you can have powder foundations, or you can have liquid foundations. So I bought a powder one. I assume most people have seen powder foundations, but you get like a little You're like a little spongy with it. You can see this one is definitely well used in the middle. And then you've got liquid foundations, which you can get in tubes, you can get in bottles, anything like that. Neither one is better than the other. It's basically a case of what your comfort level is and what you actually want to achieve. I get quite spotty, so I use a full coverage liquid foundation. I just gotta cake that shit on to get rid of all those spots. But if you've got beautiful, smooth skin, you might be like, I just need to gently brush my face with this powder. Or some people don't like the feel of liquid, so go for the powder one. Neither one is better, both good options. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So how do you actually apply it? You can buy lots of really fancy things to help you apply your makeup. I hate makeup sponges, but I know some people really like them. Makeup brushes are fantastic. You can buy brush sets that literally tell you on each brush what you're meant to do. So this is my foundation brush. I wouldn't have known that it was a foundation brush unless it said on it, so thank you. But also, I've got to be honest, I literally use my fingers to put foundation on. Mostly because I don't like to have too much foundation on my face. I need to cake it on, but I don't want it really thick. So I find that when I do it with a brush, it really cakes on and things. So I need to I kind of just rub it in with my fingers. So again, you can buy the fancy specific brushes. You can do it with your fingers. You can do it with a sponge. There is no right or wrong way to do it. Just know that there are different ways that exist. So if someone's like, no, you have to use the sponge, and you are really, really not getting along with that sponge, try a brush, try your fingers, work it out. It's basically don't listen to people on YouTube who tell you you have to use one thing and one thing only. So contouring, which is something that a lot of people are keen to hear about. So once you've done your foundation, so you've put on your primer, your skin is feeling lovely, you've put your foundation on, you've color corrected, you're ready to go, and your face is just like a blank canvas because you've just caked on foundation and you're like, oh, where is my nose? It's time to add that nose. So contouring, you can either use a palette or you can use a stick. I don't have an example of a palette because I hate contouring palettes. I'm like, which color do I use? There's 8 of them. So I have a stick. The sticks are really easy. One side's going to be the darker side, one side's going to be the lighter side, or you can get ones like Yeeg's got, which we haven't put out because it's horrible, where it's it's one of these, but half of it's light and half of it's dark, and it's that just seems like a nightmare. Or you can get an actual dark stick one and a light stick one. They do the same thing. I like these double ones because basically you just find the one that is this the one for pasty people? Is this the one for people who have a tan? And then you've got your light and your dark and you're done. If you are a bit more interested in color theory and are trying to perfectly get your shadows on your face, then you can go for the sticks because then you can actually pick exactly what you want as your darker color and what you want as your lighter color. So what is the point of this? Why did I get pressured in Boots into buying £9 worth of a stick? The answer is that you don't actually need a contouring stick, but that you might want one in order to highlight certain aspects of your face. So I cosplay a lot of male characters, and I always find that angling dark contouring on your cheekbones gives you a more angular face, which is great because I don't want to be walking around like I'm a baby face, but I'm in a suit of armor. Hello everyone, which I think I end up being anyway. But we'll go with it. So I want to have cheekbones that will cut like my weapon that I clearly have this cosplay. Or you can use it to kind of change the shape of your nose. So another thing I like to do for contouring is I just stick straight line of the lighter stuff right down my nose, and what you get is you get like a nice little angle base. Your anime characters, they basically don't have a nose, so I'm just like, yeah, stick that down there, nose is gone. Brilliant. Solid. No noses for anyone. And unfortunately, the easy answer for contouring is that following guides is terrible because everyone's face is a different shape. So if you see someone, you see these maps online where they're like, this is how to get your face to look around, this is how you get your face to look that. It's like, well, no, because none of our faces look like this. It's all about experimentation at this point. You just have to work out what works for you and what you're trying to achieve. The general rule of thumb is darker on the outside, lighter on the inside. However, I know I use my light contouring stick to just get rid of the bags under my eyes. I'm like, oh, just pile it on. Just pile that on, please. It's probably not how you're meant to use a contouring stick, but can confirm confirm it will work. You need to get rid of those bags, just stick a contouring stick on it and you're done. But that is the general idea, is lighter on the nose, on the chin and the forehead, and then darker around the edges. Because when you've got darker around the edges, that's when you can actually start to shape your face a bit. If you put it here, you can angle your face even more. If you put it under your chin, you can have like a rounder chin. Or if you're doing a guy, you put it on your chin and you've got that 5 o'clock shadow going on. Or you just smudged poo on your hands. Depends on how well you do your contouring. But the thing is, I think the main thing with contouring that's the struggle is you kind of draw on your face and then you're like, all right, now I look like a horrible racist image of someone. Like, what do I do with this? So you need to brush it out. And this I would recommend not using your fingers for because it just gets messy. The wide flat brushes, really good for contouring. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to spend all this time putting the contour on the line and then brushing it away from where you've put it. So if you get these angled brushes, you can literally just brush it so it blends along the lines that you've put it on, and that's key. Don't waste all that time sharpieing on your face with a contour stick and then just meshing it together. We'll do a bit of demo with contouring, I think. Okay, so you've got your face. Your face is flat, it's contoured, you're doing good. Eyebrows, which is another thing. I put this up here because I don't recommend putting wax on your eyebrows. I really don't. There's two methods for eyebrow application, and it depends on your brow. And it depends on how thick your eyebrow is. Because what I like to do is I basically put all my foundation on, I get a really vivid eyeliner crayon, and I just kind of brush it over. My eyebrows are very thin, so the eyebrow doesn't actually soak in the pigment that I've put on it. It just sits on top. Fantastic. If you've got thicker eyebrows, you're going to have the issue that the pigment's actually going to sink into your eyebrow. So when you put it on, it's going to look great. You're going to be like, I am the Jesus of makeup. I've just done my eyebrows. And then half an hour later, your eyebrow will be back to its normal color because it will all have soaked in, especially doing lighter colors on darker eyebrows. When you have that problem, you need to actually do a barrier layer between your eyebrow and the actual color, because otherwise the color will just continue to soak in. It doesn't matter how much you redo it, it's not going to take. So as we see in this tutorial, just put wax on your eyebrow. That's a clever idea. Debatable. There are lots of other things you can do that aren't wax. There are lots of glues like PVAs and Pritt sticks, which are safe on skin, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't give them to 3-year-olds to do arts and crafts who are probably just going to eat it anyway. And those are really great ways to glue your eyebrows down and create a flat layer. Also, don't peel it off after, which is apparently something that we've had to have a conversation about. Because you might think, oh my god, I don't. Because you might think like, I don't really want to put PVA on my eyebrows. Why is this crazy lady telling me to do that? So hot water and soap and just like a little flannel, and it will come off, like literally no problem. The other thing is, if you're like, no, I'm not going to put adhesive on my face, you crazy person, you can also do this with liquid latex, which obviously is safe to go on your skin because actors and people use it. It'll do the exact same thing. It's just a bit more of a pain to take off. So up to you. Things exist. If you are allergic to liquid latex and also don't want to put PVA on your face, that's also totally fine. There are lots of other ways you can create this barrier layer. Concealer is fantastic. So on top of my foundation and my highlighter stick, I also have these 3 things, and these are concealers, and they are designed so that if you have spots, you can cover your spots and have a flawless face, but they are also amazing for covering eyebrows and creating barrier layers. So I've got 2 stick versions here. As you can see, these are a lot lighter than my actual skin, and this is because I'm using these to put on light colored eyebrows. I'm not going to use these to put on like a purple or a black. And then I have a darker liquid version here. And what these do is that then the eyebrow will soak in these, and then when you put the color on top, it'll stay on top. So it's more complicated, and I don't think it's as good as actually doing an adhesive barrier layer, but if you're very much like, I'm not putting glue on my face, Tabitha, please stop telling me to do that. These are your options. There are other ways. I was a bit not sure about the liquid concealer, but it's waterproof and it's actually fantastic, so I do recommend a liquid concealer, which I never recommend the liquid things, I hate them, so I hope that makes things a bit clearer for eyebrows. I guess we can do questions at the end, and if people are like, no, I need you to explain it again, that's fine. When you put your barrier layer on, if you're doing a bright color like a pink or a purple, you can just slap that on absolutely fine with either a lip, and literally anything goes on the eyebrows. I've used lipstick, eyeliner pens, eyeliner kohl, anything that's got a bright color, it'll work fantastically. If you're doing a light color, you might want to put white on first, so I find that yellows and orange is literally the bane of my existence. And I have to put a white layer on top of the foundation and then put the color on once it's all dry. The key thing with eyebrows is you've got to give yourself enough time that things dry before you put the next layer on, or you're just going to end up with like a weird mush unibrow going on. It's not going to look good. Not going to look good in any capacity. But yeah, and luckily finding white eyeliners is actually really, really easy now, so that's good. So eyes. Eyes are another thing I wanted to cover because I feel like every time you look up like how to do cosplay eyes, it's just like Asian people, which is great. I have no problem with that, but like my eyes don't look like an Asian person in the slightest. How am I meant to copy these things? So again, like with a foundation, you've got different types of eyeliner. You've got kohl, which is just like the crayon. You've got liquid eyeliner, either in a brush or a pen form. I find if you're doing anime, liquid eyeliner is the way to go because you want those bold, you know, my eyes are half the size of my face, my eyelashes are like 8 times longer, you want like that bold, thick eyeliner. Whereas if you're doing characters who are maybe played by actors or characters from Western media, I find that the kohl eyeliners, the crayon ones actually work better because you're getting a much more natural look. You're not really going for the hello everyone, I'm Sailor Moon. And again, it's also the colours, because for anime, you look at it black, because if you see how the characters are drawn, their eyes are going to be black and, for the outline. Whereas natural eyeliners are also, like natural colour eyeliners, I should say, browns, tans, things like that, are fantastic. Especially if, I don't know, you're like, oh, I don't really want to look like I'm wearing eyeliner, but I know I need it because I need to have my eyes visible in photos and not look like a gremlin, if that's not what you're going for. So natural colours, browns, really good. It's just to give you that definition so your eyes don't disappear into your face because of your wig. And also, if you look at actors on stage and in plays who you might be mimicking their costumes from films and stuff, they're all wearing makeup. They're all wearing makeup and they're all wearing eyeliner. You just don't notice it because you're not paying attention to that. You know, we're not looking at Captain America's face, we're looking at America's ass, aren't we? That's what we're here for. But you know, he's definitely wearing eyeliner, obviously, in foundation. So kind of going for, you can do much more natural things. Don't think, okay, I've got to do the crazy eyeliner because everyone is doing the crazy eyeliner. Again, it's experimentation, isn't it? So yeah, again, just more with eyes. I do find like tutorials are helpful. I don't do a lot with eyeshadow around my eyes to like do different effects, but that's also something you can do. So like this person's done the red in the eyes to kind of mimic the red of the character. So you can do stuff like that. I always think with eyes it's just best to get creative and to just find out something that works. But it's definitely, you need the right eyeliner pen for the kind of effect you're trying to achieve. And so what's nice is that you can get tons of different ranges of eyeliner pens, and you can get really thick ones, really thin ones, you can get ones that are blocky rather than a point. When I do anime eyes, I use like 3 different eyeliners at the same time because I've got the eyeliner for actually going over my eye, and I've got the eyeliner for doing the weird pointy bits, and I've got the one for going under my eye and things like that. And that's just because I'm a makeup hoarder and I need to stop. But just experimenting with a pen that you like, because I think a lot of times people are like, oh, eyeliner's really hard, I can't wear it properly, every time I do it it's smudgy, and it's like, maybe you're using the wrong pen. Like try a different, don't just buy the same pen that you had before, try a different nib on it and actually see if that helps you. Because I thought I was like terrible at eyeliner, and then I got one of the like blocky ones, and because it felt to me like I was holding a pen that I'd used for drawing, suddenly my hand was like way steadier, my eyeliner was like super on point, like really, really nice wings, because I was using a pen that felt more normal on my face. So definitely experiment, try it out. Mad props to people who can put eyeliner on just by like closing their eye and going like this. I'm there like in the mirror like, ugh, holding my eye. If I couldn't hold my eye, I would literally never be able to put eyeliner on properly. So if you're wondering why people can, like, that's the other thing with putting eyeliner on, is if you look a bit like an idiot, it's not a problem. When you're actually putting it on, just grabbing your eye. When I see people on YouTube and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna watch the video and also put this on, I'm like, no, that's how are you doing that? I literally don't understand. Okay, yeah, more with eyes. Again, I was looking up like, oh, eye makeup for cosplay to find images, and it's literally just all Asian people. And I'm like, you all look fantastic, but this is not helpful if you're a cosplayer in the West and you really don't know how to actually do eye makeup, because this is not going to be useful in the slightest. Okay, so let's look at lips. Lips are a weird one for cosplay, because obviously when you go into a makeup shop, you're going to see like crazy colored lipsticks and things like that. And I don't know, there aren't many anime characters who I can think off the top of my head who wear a lot of like lipstick. I mean, it's not JoJo. Like, unless you're doing JoJo, you're not really looking at having different colored lips. So if you are a dude, or you're cosplaying a dude, or anything like that, again, these cover sticks are fantastic, because what you want to do is you want to neutralize your lips but still make it clear that you have lips. Otherwise it's just going to look weird. So these are fantastic, because you're kind of getting rid of the kind of rosy look of your lips, but you're not actually like completely getting rid of them like you would if you were putting foundation on. So definitely cover sticks are fantastic ways to deal with that if you are cosplaying.
So I've seen like cosplayers like literally put foundation on their lips as well.
Yeah. You can, I just think that those are better, because like when you put foundation on your lips, because it's the same color as everything around it, it's literally like, hello, greetings. Whereas if you pick a slightly lighter cover stick that you already are using for your eyebrows, at least then your lips have definition without being like a different color, right? Because then at least it's like, ah yes, this is the color of my lips and this is the color of my skin. They're clearly two different things. So in photos, they look like two different things. I mean, you can literally just slap foundation on your mouth, like that's your choice. I would just suggest the cover sticks work better. Another thing that's really cool for cosplay makeup is using darker lipsticks, but only doing it on the inside of your mouth, like so it's called gradient lips here. And this is great, especially for like female anime characters, because they've all got those like weird shinies on their lips. So I really like, you can get, oh, I don't know why I have it here, yeah. You can get things called lip stains and lip markers. They're not lipsticks. They're basically like crayons. It's like the forbidden fruit, you know, like when you were a kid, you ever wanted to eat a crayon, like this is a crayon you can put on your mouth. Incredible. And
you still don't eat it though.
No, you shouldn't eat it, please. And this stuff is great because it gives you color, and you can put it right on the inside of your mouth like this to do the gradient, and it's not going to go the same way lipstick will go, because it stains the lips, and it's a marker, so it's going to be a lot more sturdy, and obviously in that part of your mouth, that is where your lipstick's going to go anyway. So if you ever want to kind of do the super shiny female anime character lips, definitely recommend the markers or the lip stains and kind of just doing it as a gradient. And neutrals and glossy lip things are also fantastic for this. I personally can't deal with glossy lipstick. I hate the feel of it. So when I see like people doing with the clear lipstick and getting the really nice glossy effect, I'm like, that's really cool. I'm literally never going to do that ever in my life because I hate that texture. But if you don't mind that texture, that's a really nice way to kind of do the makeup on your mouth and make it kind of look like the rest of your costume, if you feel in it. If not, you know, live your life. Yeah, so that's what I have for kind of just going with the face. There's a couple of other things I wanted to mention, and then we're going to do a bit of a demo on our wonderful yeeks here. Going back to what I kind of said at the beginning of this panel, where, you know, cosplay makeup's great. It's super fun. I love cosplay makeup because for me it feels like artistry. I like to draw and I like to make cosplay, and so makeup is sort of like an extension of that. It's using your face as a canvas, doing whatever crazy stuff you want to it, and that's why I really like it. But there are limits to what you can and what you really should do with makeup. So yesterday, for those of you who came to the 3-minute presentation challenge, Marianne did a fantastic piece on contacts in cosplay. And you know, we get this idea that like, yeah, you want contacts, you want that look of that character. I personally can't wear contacts. So So when people are like, oh yeah, cosplay's not good without contacts, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to throw myself into a dumpster then, shall I? And it's one of those things where makeup is super fun. I don't do this, I literally won't look accurate, I can't do this at all. Maybe it's time to reevaluate what you're really doing with your makeup. So a couple of things that have come up recently. I did do this panel before the ECG, for the Euro cosplay stuff here, I just want to point out. And I thought about taking it out, and then I thought, no, screw everyone. So we had a thing in the States with Western cosplayers using face tape to narrow their eyes to look like Asian people, which obviously is a bit of a yellow facing issue. And the argument was, well, no, it's my makeup, it's my artistry, and it's just that case of, if you are doing something with makeup that you're maybe using contouring or face tape to change your face, what's the limit? When does it become a caricature and potentially perceived as racist versus when are you actually doing it because it's fun and you want to experiment and things like that? So with everything with makeup, you need to actually think about what you're doing. And again, it's the same thing with foundation, and it's why I very strongly stress you need to base it on your tone, because obviously with Eurocos we had a big issue this year with blackface in the cosplay community, and when is that acceptable and when is it not? In my opinion, it's never acceptable at all. I'm willing to have this discussion with people after if they want, that's perfectly fine, but it's a case of, just because you can do something with makeup, just because you can change something about yourself using makeup doesn't mean you should. And that's really the key thing to get across here, is makeup is fantastic. You can do so much with it, especially in cosplay, which is such a creative hobby. There's so much you can do. You need to also make sure you're not doing anything that's inappropriate, and also you need to make sure you're not doing anything that's not safe to you. So one of the things with makeup is that it's not necessarily the cheapest thing in the world. So some people might think, oh, I'm just going to buy this cheap eyeliner rather than the expensive one, and then you need to think, well, what is the risk to your eyes if you do that? If you're putting a cheaper makeup really close to your eyes, is that maybe something that might damage your sight in the future? And so it's a case of thinking about what you're actually using, and just because everyone else is wearing eyeliner for their costume, if you're not comfortable with it, or you might have an issue with it, don't think that you have to, or you have to do it. It's the same with foundation. Like, I had this issue at one con where I was putting foundation under my eyes and it was really irritating my eyesight, and I just thought, I'm just not going to wear foundation for the rest of the weekend. If someone's like, oh, your face looks weird in photos, I'll be like, well, you know what, that's just real life. And just thinking of just really drawing it back and going, what are you willing to do, and then what are your actual physical limitations? Because cosplay should always be fun, and that's the key thing. And using makeup as cosplay should be fun and enjoyable as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get our wonderful model to come up here. We're going to turn a chair around. Everyone give a round of applause and I've definitely never done a live demo before, so this is going to be hysterical. If I poke your eye out, you're not allowed to say anything.
Did you sign a waiver?
Sign nothing. I'm planning to sue. The Daily Mail is going to pay.
We've already got the article written, it's perfect. Okay, so where's your primer? Do you want to put your primer on? He doesn't have a primer, he's already done for.
I think you've already pre-primed, but...
You've already pre-primed, prime again. Prime for the people!
I need to see it or I don't know what I'm doing.
So again, priming is super easy. It's literally like putting on your moisturizer in the morning. I hope people put on moisturizer, or what's wrong with you filthy animals?
It's just a moisturizer.
Dead silence. Moisturizer? I need to look after my skin on a normal basis. Okay. So you see, he's also putting it on his neck, because obviously if you are thinking of contouring anywhere around here, then you might as well put your primer on the neck as well. Some people will put makeup on their neck too, just to kind of make it blend a bit better. I don't normally do that, but
It depends on if you're
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion for guys as well, because we tend to not use moisturiser? I can probably recommend, if you do have dry skin as a guy, definitely moisturise before you put makeup on, because you will feel so much better during the day and afterwards.
So you can get moisturising primers that are primarily there for dry skin. This one actually isn't, because this one is a super stay that I got really cheap.
Remember what I was talking about, kids?
It's still Maybelline.
Yeah,
It's still
it's
Maybelline.
good.
But you can get moisturising primers, which, especially because for a lot of guys with makeup, you shave before you do your makeup, and shaving kills your skin in a lot of ways. So it's definitely a great idea to use something that's moisturising. So I pre-primed with an actual just straight moisturiser, as well as using this now. So.
And it's not just a guy thing, really. You should just moisturise in general,
Yeah.
and then put your makeup on, because like you're at a con, you get to the con at 10 in the morning, and then you're drinking until 3 in the morning, and like then you go home and you take your makeup off, and your skin is gonna love you so much. You moisturise first. Please look after your skin. No one's moisturising you. So, how do you want to apply your foundation? We do brush.
You do whatever's comfortable with you.
All right. I'm gonna stick my fingers on your face.
Okay. Just not off the nose.
I'm gonna stick my finger up your nose.
Okay.
So what I normally do is I'm just like dab, 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 dab.
We all did that.
Yeah. It's not complicated. It's really not complicated.
You don't have to look traumatized. It's not mandatory.
Oh.
It's like a bit of like face massage.
Are you feeling
I feel like all my blood vessels opening.
I'm not sure that's a good thing.
TTL, you go.
Now you can see that I put a spot on the cheeks, I put a spot on the chin, I put a spot on the nose. The reason why I do that is because for me, that's really the area I'm looking to cover. And again, this is going to depend on you as a person. Because I do a lot of anime characters, I very rarely have my wig not on my forehead. So I'm like, why am I putting makeup on my forehead? It's pointless. I also currently have like a scar on my forehead, so I don't want to put makeup on that, because that could get into the scar and then be a problem. So for me, I'm only looking to cover the pieces of my face that are actually going to be visible. But some people are like, no, ears, forehead, neck, chest. We're gonna put it everywhere. Again, it's your choice. If you're getting a foundation that's literally your skin tone, you don't have to cover your full face, because there's not going to be anything that doesn't look like it's not your skin. And if you're not getting one that matches your skin tone, you need to reevaluate your choices.
Again, to go along with this is for guys with post shaving is that nobody ever gets a clean shave. You're always going to get like a bit of a stubble or a bit of a colour change there. So a colour correcting foundation is great for use there. A colour correction concealer. So anything that sort of lightens the skin up from like the darkness of shaving or anything like that, it will easily blend out your foundation afterwards for it.
Do you use the orange foundation? Because often like stubble tends to come through as a purple colour.
Yeah, so I use a brightening one, which I also use for bags on the eyes as well, because it is lightening and it is colour correcting, because I have sort of undertones to my eyes
I
as well.
have to do that on my mustache.
Yeah, colour correcting is basically just working out what one you need. But I like the palettes you can get, because then you have everything. So then if you're like, I don't know which one I need, it's all there.
Yeah.
You're good. Because I'm doing basically my makeup on you, so I'm not going to do that because I don't have a beard. So
you say.
Yeah.
I just shave really well.
I mean, up close I can vouch it.
Alright, so we'll do contouring, since that seems to be something that people care about. Just good. Okay. So I've got my dark one right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at where your sideburn is, and I'm going to go right to kind of the bottom of the cheekbone right here. And I'm going to put my hand on your face.
Do you have to do wee when you do this?
Yes, you have to do wee.
Very important.
Yes, break your neck.
My notes.
I'm just doing a little bit here. Cheekbones that cut.
The one thing as well, don't make funny faces at this point, because then you will get weird lines.
And then all I'm going to do with the brush is I'm going to take it like this, and I'm just going to go like this. Yeah, it is a fitted mermaid brush. But, I mean, my bag is like unicorns and stuff. Have fun with your makeup. Buy stupid brushes.
You guys don't do the thing where you like suck in your cheeks to find out where your cheek is.
No. Because the thing
I
is,
can literally feel.
Yeah, I mean-
I can never find mine because my face is too fat.
yeah. See, I'm just tracing basically. Now, this is the one for me. So it's not showing up as dark as it would on me. But then again, sometimes I feel like if you get too dark, you just what's going on here? What's happening? So you want something that looks like it's actually kind of could be a shadow on your skin tone, rather than like, no, I've literally just put soot on. The other thing I like to do for anime characters as well is, can you close your eyes, please? I like to put a tiny bit of contour up here and up here, and then I just kind of brush it out again down. And what I find is that it kind of angles it angles kind of the bridge of your nose. If you look at anime characters, they don't have a bridge of there's nothing there. So what you're kind of doing is you're just kind of almost getting rid of it by narrowing it ridiculously, and then it helps when you're kind of doing a crazy eyeliner. So I like to do that. We're going to see if this is really too light. Don't do this, kid. No, it's fine. We're going to blend it out. We're going to blend it out. So this,
Oh god, no.
so this is where I'm going to put, it's going to look really stupid for a second. Okay. So I like to put highlighter on the chin, because you know how whenever you think you take a really good picture and then you look at your picture and chin's like, and I find that when you put highlighter on it, it kind of gets rid of that. You kind of get a nice even shine on your chin rather than the. So definitely. The other thing that I would do if I were doing a costume that didn't have a fringe is I would actually do some on the center of my forehead, again for the same reason, because it kind of detracts from like creases and things. Oh, it's not too bad actually. And then you just blend.
So one thing about I'll give a slight horror story while Tiny's doing this, which is that there is a very important thing about actually finding your correct skin tone and not relying on somebody else to bring makeup for you to try on. Which is that at Japan Expo that I had a friend who is quite talented with his makeup, do makeup on me, and I literally looked like I had not eaten. I had no blood in my face. It was horrifying. If a flash went off, my face actually looked white, like as I was using makeup white. So don't do that.
So it's not like a massive change because I don't do quite crazy makeup changes, but like if we put a flash on your face, it would be, you'd see the highlighter on the nose and the chin, and then the darker areas around the face. Again, makeup doesn't have to be like a, oh my god, it's a complete transformation! First I was the Beast and now I'm a handsome French man.
With unexplained blonde hair.
Pardon?
With unexplained blonde hair.
Okay. Should we use some eyebrows next? So is everyone good on contouring, or does anyone want to show anything else? Or are we like, we understand contouring, we're happy to try it? Okay, fantastic. Let's look at some eyebrows. I'm going to do 2 different eyebrows on these.
I'm going to apply after this.
And that's so I can show you guys using the kohl pen and then using the no, I was right the first time. No, this isn't what I want. Hold on.
So one thing to warn is that my eyebrows are a bit thicker.
Yeah.
Like, sub-Asian sort of eyebrows and everything genetic. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how this turns out.
Yeah.
Quite thick,
So
dark eyebrows.
we're going to use dark colours. We're going to see how this works. Also, the lighting in this room is like actual garbage.
We can stand in front of the projector afterwards.
Yes.
Actually, one of like that.
No, it's fine.
Everyone's
It's
torches out.
honestly funnier this way. The beauty, the amazingness. Okay. So I'm gonna do. Don't have photography friends, guys. Okay.
That is quite impressive.
This is the blue that I currently have on my eyebrows. And what I did today is I was wearing costume with pink eyebrows earlier, and I went upstairs, I wiped the pink off, and I went, oh, and then I'm done. So we're gonna see if that holds true. I'm gonna have to put my arm on your face.
We need a drum roll for this.
Can't see anything.
Nice.
Oh no, that's not true. I did that.
These are new today.
Which I did the show. Just lip balm like that.
Right.
And then it goes. I looked on my money doll, my eyebrows are brown. Yeah. The lipstick's important for her. And I didn't have that the first time.
Okay, fine. Can I have the light thing?
Yeah.
It is actually showing up, but because it's a navy blue, it's like, oh, actually, this is a horrible colour choice.
My bad.
I think we should get pink.
Neon orange.
We'll start with the picture one first.
Yeah.
So the nice about this one is, of course, sometimes we don't have the steadiest hand when doing this, so you can use it we can use like a bit of tape design to like just sort of tape off, similar to how you paint a prop, masking tape it, but on your eyebrows, at least not sort of getting a little bit out there.
So what I've done here is rather than actually, rather than actually like really draw the eyebrow on, I've actually gone over the hair. So in this way, I've made it look more natural. I've actually gone, okay, we're gonna go very lightly, almost sketching with the brush, so that it's blue, but it's not like I've literally drawn my eyebrows on. And that might be what you want. You might actually want drawn on eyebrows, but I personally like to see if I can try and make it a bit more natural.
We'll try light color.
Should we try light color? Okay. We'll use a. I'll give you a Gilgamesh eyebrow. It's time for yellow. Okay, now we're gonna do the harder one.
Oh god, yes.
Actually, wait, hold on.
Eyebrow.
Shave off an eyebrow.
Wax it off.
Someone hold him down. So we're gonna start. Here's the thing, though, is like I will have told you guys that this totally works. It's not gonna work. You're gonna be like, Tabitha was lying to me. So this is gonna look really different. Everyone's like, it's actually gonna work this time, right?
There goes the eyebrow.
Someone get the razor. So again, I haven't gotten rid of his eyebrow, but I've put the lighter color on. So now we can put the yellow one. We're just gonna let that set for a second. When doing lighter colors, I like to use a lipstick and then an eyeshadow, because when you do the lipstick, you literally get the drawn on look. When you put the eyeshadow on, it actually starts to look a bit more normal. Any brush will work for this, but I have funny Eevee brushes that my mum bought me. So we're going to use we're going to use Sylveon. It's a different brush on the bottom. I can't just use it.
You should use them all.
That's not how this works, guys. Okay, so now we'll put the yellow one.
Which one's Flareon then?
I don't know. I don't have a Flareon on there, so I don't even know what you call that Flareon. It's a home. It's a wider brush. I just kissed your eyebrow entirely. Don't laugh. Don't laugh.
From the bottom of your heart.
You're such a
There we go. Oh yeah.
It's what's really nice.
It's yellow. Okay.
And now for the race.
So when you're using eyeshadow on your eyebrows, you want it to be quite powdery, because otherwise you're just going to brush off what you've already put on. So you're going to spend like 10 minutes foundationing your eyebrow to your face, and then you're going to like swipe over it and it's all going to disappear. So you want to powder and dab, okay? Like that is the key. I was waiting for someone in the room to do it, and honestly I'm disappointed.
You made us that earlier.
I did make you dab earlier, it's true. It's glorious.
My arm.
Yeah, I just worked on my legs, not my Wow.
Okay, you can all come look at.
Right, guys, this is the thing.
And we've done that in 5 minutes. If I were doing this in the morning for a con, and I was doing photo shoots and stuff, I would.
At the back, it just looks like he's got no eyebrow on one side.
I'm so glad. That's honestly the better option. This goes on your cheekbones, like up and around the eyes. I also like to put it on my nose, and then I'm like, oh, I'm super cute. Oh. That's entirely your choice.
Oh, don't worry, I'll be doing the keyboard.
Yay.
I do it highlighter good.
Oh, it's glittery.
Can I like change my choice?
No.
Damn it.
All the regrets.
You'll be fine.
It's already on your face, my dude. That's
It's too late for you now.
Too late. Just like me in a couple of hours time.
gonna Kawaii. Kawaii desu. Oh, let's just layer it on.
Remember,
This is now a makeup
remember
pattern.
it's Yamane. It's Yamane to the start.
And then I'll normally like brush it out. It's kind of like a fashion thing now, like not in cosplay, but like a general fashion thing to do your highlighter, and it's just like a line, and it's like what? So I'll normally try and blend it a bit so it doesn't look like I'm just clown facing.
Yeah.
Do you feel pretty? Oh, and your
I
cheeks
have
are
no
glowing.
Let's see.
Somebody actually kind of needs to show. There's no mirror.
That's probably for the best.
Oh, you're so glittery.
Is there anything else people are interested in seeing?
Lipstick.
Right, okay, hygiene 101, don't share lipsticks. Like, really, don't share lipsticks.
Yeah, I don't have lipstick.
So yeah, we're not gonna do that, because that's...
No, we're not going up. We're not.
No, this is a hygiene safe panel, so no.
Not safe.
You've already got
Wait,
one.
Does anyone have any questions? Concerns?
So of course, sealing. I usually use like a powder.
Right, yes, sealing. So you can have a powder sealing or you can have a spray sealing. Anyone who had a horrible Homestuck phase, you're going to have one of these lying around. So you can get more intense spray sealants, which are going to be things like theatre makeup, which will have quite harsh chemicals in, but you can get regular matte or shiny finish. I prefer matte finish, but you know, it's whatever you feel, my dude. And it's basically just water with alcohol. And it just sets your makeup, and it's fantastic. It's the difference between your makeup lasting, you know, like having to reapply it in the afternoon, or basically lasting until 3 AM when you're drunk on the floor. So definitely. You can do powders as well. You can do both, actually. You can powder and then you can spray set, because that's what we used to have to do for body paint. Is you had to do one, because what the benefit of setting powder is that it actually evens everything. So while you're putting your makeup on, if you've sweated a bit, if you've got pores showing a bit, this just clean slate fixes everything. And then you can put the spray on after as a second layer of fix, or you can only do the spray, or you can only do the powder. It's whatever you feel like. I'm going to let you do this because I don't. Do you want me to do it?
Yeah. So I mean, I usually use the mirror for this because otherwise it's literally just go the power on, knock it off, and just go over.
The spray, obviously, hold it and close your eyes. do not spray alcohol into your eyes or your mouth.
Spray alcohol in your mouth, the sign is happening at this corner.
Hold it far away, and like there's something toxic in it, but just don't spray it into your eyes.
There are better ways of getting alcohol into
Alright.
Yeah, there are.
Absolute stupid new question. Cleansers. Wiping it,
Oh, yeah, right.
getting it off.
Yeah, so I really like micellar water and pads, where you end up going through like a ton of pads depending on how much makeup you put on, but basically you put the micellar water on the pad and you just sit there and you're like, wipey. I don't like makeup wipes, but some people do. You can get packs of 50 makeup wipes and you're done.
So as an alternative to makeup wipes, as anybody that has sensitive skin and you know you don't use micellar water, baby wipes are like fantastic. They're hypoallergenic, you know, they're safe for babies, and they work great. Plus you can re-wet them, which is also always great as well. But they're
Baby wipes are good. There's also some creams that actually will take your makeup off. I've seen someone in like a full makeup literally just put cream on their face and it's just gone. I'm like, oh yes, hot cloth cleansers are also fantastic. So yeah, there's
yeah, it's honestly.
yeah.
Famous drag queen Willem Valley told me to put hairspray on my face while I
No, but you will cough a bit.
Okay, so the thing with hairspray is like, having been a Homestuck, I have seen people set their face with hairspray. It's not going to kill you, but like it's called hairspray, not face spray. Whereas this is face spray. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing with like with eyeliner or something. Like yeah, technically you could put it around your lips, but you shouldn't because it's not called lip liner. It's called eyeliner.
You wouldn't want to with hairspray because
Yeah.
if you accidentally breathe it in, it can be like they always say on like the can.
You shouldn't breathe
Yeah.
it in. But to be fair, there's a lot of face setting sprays that are actually like not great to breathe in either. Like the Ben Nye the Meron stuff, like that. Oh god, I think I get like PTSD from smelling the Meron stuff at this point in my life because it smells horrible. So it's not going to kill you, but like I don't understand why you use it when there's products designed for exactly what you have. I don't know.
Also, just on a side note with that is, be careful what you have in your sprays, because things like hairspray and those Ben Nye ones are slightly flammable. So, you know, you don't want to burn your face off in a weird accident.
Light a cigarette.
Yes.
What about so obviously
Guys, there's a question.
you put makeup on, but what about like areas where the skin might split, like your lips, or if you got like scars on your face?
Yeah, so I just recommend if you have scars on your face, don't put makeup on the scars. So I've had a scar on my forehead since August, and I've just been avoiding putting any makeup on my forehead since I got it.
What about lips? If you got like,
Yeah, I split my lips quite a lot as well. I found that lipstick doesn't actually have an issue on split lips.
Yeah.
Maybe other people have had an issue with that, but I've never had a problem where I'm like, oh, it's got into the split, oh, my life's miserable. But definitely for foundations and things, like just avoid your scars.
Yeah.
You don't want to gunk it up. Like if a scar is healing, the last thing you want to do is like put chemicals basically
You could always
in the
put
scar.
like a plaster over it and then sort of like
Yeah,
go
you
over
could
the
do a plaster. My thing is I'm just like, a plaster for me is more obvious than actually just leaving your scar because then you've got to put the makeup over the plaster and obviously it's going to look different than the makeup on the rest of your skin.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, you might as well just avoid the scar entirely.
True.
If you're using a foundation that's your exact skin tone, it's not going to look weird. It's just going to look, and I mean,
Yeah.
if you've got a scar, you've got a scar. Just be like, I'm this character, but after
Battle damage.
Battle damage, that's the keyword. Yes,
Wait,
in the back. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, no one's kicking us out yet. Okay. Are there any final questions?
No.
Oh, that's
Okay, alright. Thank you for coming to the panel. I hope it was useful.